his gambling debts. Maybe. Not maybe. Definitely. Well, how can you know that? Because when you lose money gambling, the kind of people you owe the money to, they don't like to take checks. Okay, but then one thing still bugs me. Only one? He told his brother Mark that he owed money, but that if he didn't pay it off, he'd pay for his life, right? So? Okay, that was after Mrs. Owen had given him 25,000. So if he paid off his gambling debts, the only person he owed money to was Alex Owen.
Said it was a one-off. It wouldn't happen again. But he owed all this money. He didn't dare tell Abigail because she'd kill him. And obviously I don't mean...
He gave him money to pay his debts off.
No, she gave all our savings to pay his debts off. Every penny we had.
Why didn't you tell us this earlier?
Well, because I was trying to spare Abigail any more pain. It's all connected, isn't it? It's got a bit to do with his debts.
And when did you find out about this?
After Benjamin was killed. Now, don't get any ideas. I'm not being cleaned out and being accused of murder, not in the same week.
Did Benjamin ever say if he planned to pay you back?
He said he wouldn't rest until he paid back every dollar.
You believed him?
Yes.
Phil Owen has a freshwater vat in his dive ship.
True. I never thought of that.
That's why I'm a detective sergeant and you're not.
And the marks on his chest?
That's clearly a struggle, during which he'd have to have face down with some foot. Which would explain marks on his chest, as the still lodged in his esophagus. Marks was told on the seabed where the body was found. The key is the money Benjamin owed, and the money he begged his brother for. The only thing that makes sense is that Phil Owen lied and not finding out about the money until after Benjamin was dead. He never went to get it before Benjamin didn't have it till after a furious row. Phil Owen killed Benjamin Lightfoot by holding him underwater with a freshwater barrel.
What about the guy in the cells?
But there's nothing that makes sense to the victim, therefore he's nothing more than a distraction. Custody Phil Owen.
Are you sure it's a good idea? Look, the chief needs to know we're about to make an arrest. Dwayne, one thing before we go in. You've been feeding him information on the quiet. Well, how did you know? Because so have I. Only I didn't bring a bag of fruit every time I went. Sir?
Sir, why are you here?
Sergeant Young is about to make an arrest. We thought you should know.
Robert, you must tell me who it.
He's done too much. He's wiped out. We should leave. Let him sleep. No way. He's back.
I was like, yes. You're about to tell me who you think killed Benjamin Lightfoot.
Yes. Right, so Sergeant Young thinks it could only be one person.
That's what I believe too.
It was Phil Owen. And he's gone again. No, he's listening. Taking it all in. So Phil's the killer. Well, we better arrest him for murder then.
I wouldn't do that if I were you. Perhaps you could help me get dressed.
Dwayne.
Drop to the station, and then I need you to go and get a couple of things. I'm not dead yet.
I said it was a baffling case. Yet all it needed was dogged determination to look at police work and an instinct for the truth. In the final analysis, Benjamin Lightfoot's murderer could only be one person. The only person here with the means, motive, and opportunity.
I couldn't agree more. Mark Lightfoot, I'm arresting you on suspicion of the murder of your brother, Benjamin Lightfoot.
What? This is a madness. Phil, do something. You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defense if you do not mention when questioned subject you may to rely on in court. Anything you do say may be given as evidence. Do you understand?
Will someone please explain to me what's going on?
Ah, Helena.
Helena.
Detective Inspector Richard Poole. We haven't met, but I've heard a lot about you. I apologise for the dramatic nature of my arrival, but I felt compelled to drag myself from my sickbed to prevent a grave injustice, and of course to arrest Mark here for the murder of his brother.
He can't be the murderer. I saw him on the boat when Benjamin went by him. And so did one of your officers.
Yeah, it's him. Now, you only thought you saw Benjamin that morning. In fact, that's rather the point. Did you tell your brother the real reason you were sailing for the UK that day, or did you already know?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You do? You're a smuggler, Mr. Lightfoot, aren't you? Once a year you sell that boat to the UK. That's what you told my officers, didn't it? And you crew boats all over the Caribbean. That's how you met Danny Barber. Or Fernandez, as we now know he is. Or is it a coincidence that a suspected smuggler is in the Bay of Monterey the same day you're leaving for the UK? Though as any detective worth their salt will tell you, there's no such thing as coincidence in murder investigation.
The scales on Mr. Fernandez's boat confused us. There was no case of drugs, even in lab tests. The drugs were only one of the things Mr. Fernandez was known to deal in. The others being guns and conflict diamonds.
This one. Found lodged in the esophagus of the victim. Uncuts still look like same, but easy enough to identify with a little basic research.
I was waiting on that report.
Once we knew what the stone was, the rest suddenly made sense. Because the way you got through UK customs was really quite brilliant. They went in.
You're wrong. If those are diamonds, I have no idea how they got there.
You're lying. I also think that when your brother discovered what they were and tried to take some of them to pay his debts, he pushed his head into the fish tank and held him there. No. In his struggle to breathe, this stone became lodged in his throat. I can't be sure, but it certainly explains the shape of the wounds on his chest and why there were metal shards embedded in the metal. By the way, not plastic, it's stated quite clearly in the lab report, I believe. It also explains the one thing you didn't consider when you dumped his body into the sea. Why his lungs were full of fresh water. Ah! Mr. Fernandez.
Ugh.
At the moment, you're charged with possession of a counterfeit passport and legal movement of conflict diamonds. What you have to decide is whether you want to add accessory to murder to that list. Mark?
Oh, so you do know it?
Question is, will the jury believe you when you tell me you're not a murderer?
Alright. It was his idea to use the camera. Fish tank. He approached me. I'll tell you everything. I had nothing to do with the killing of his brother.
I still don't understand. I saw him. By the time you saw Benjamin go diving, he was already dead. You were forced to admit that you argued with your brother, then he was murdered, and you didn't know what had been overheard. You decided to tell us the truth. You didn't tell us what happened next, did you?
And where am I going to get that sort of money from? Not this time. Not this time. Come on, big boy. No, I bring it to the good. Alright?
After a night of heavy drinking, emotions ran high, tempers flared. You started to fight over the diamonds. All those years of resentment. And little brother who breezed through life with him in his wake without his mess. I don't really know if you meant to kill your brother that day. Once you realised that you had, you knew you had to dispose of his body. And I have to say, your plan was ingenious. The first part, get him into some of the boat's scuba kit and get his body onto the dinghy. You thought it would look like a tragic diving accident. After all, what else could it be? Your first mistake was in not realizing that his lungs would be full of fresh water. The second was in forgetting to turn on his air tank. Once you dumped his body in the sea, he came back. It was you that broke into Phil's dive shape, wasn't it? And now we understand why it looked like nothing had been stolen, because nothing had. You simply needed a police officer there for the final piece of the jigsaw. You disposed of your brother's body at sea under cover of darkness. But in order to get away with his murder, you needed to prove he was still alive.
So you impersonated him, making sure you put on one of his trademark red bandanas. Because in scuba gear, it'd be hard to tell two people apart, let alone two brothers of a similar age and build. And as long as you spoke through the snorkel, you didn't sound the same. I mean, why would anyone think anything suspicious was happening? At that stage, nobody knew anything suspicious had happened. You wasn't being clumsy when you dropped and smashed that bucket. It was cleverly proving that you were on that boat after your brother had left it. So how could you be the murderer? The murder hadn't happened yet. Your brother was still alive. So everyone would think.
I asked Frank to pick up not just the fish tank, but also to look through the trash that we put out that day. Because inside there was one clue that broke the whole case wide open. Benjamin had never appeared without his red bandana before the day that he was murdered. Why was that? It really bugged me. Until I realized that you remembered to wear it and impersonate him that morning. Then you panicked to dispose of the body you hadn't. So, the bandana, the marks on his chest, the stone, the fresh water in his lungs, the breaking of the dive shed. All things that individually make no sense, but when you put them all together, they add up to one fact. You murdered your brother Benjamin and disposed of his body in the sea. Lock him up,
Mark, how could you? He was your brother.
And I hated him. My whole life I hated him, and none of you can understand. You just laugh at me, the brother who wasn't as cool or as interesting. My whole life, people they run around after him. I run around after him, clearing up his mistakes, paying his debts. That didn't amuse me. But you never saw that. Nobody noticed me.